So, the next album we're going to be looking into is... I can't fucking find them in my notes.
Violent Soho.
That is the one. Still, yeah.
I was going to say I threw this one in the last minute, but it wasn't really at the last minute, but it wasn't on the list for quite a while. I just kind of added it in because I thought we needed to talk about something else. But I'd been listening to it beforehand and I'd really got into it through a single called Vacation Forever, which I think came out towards the tail end of 2019. So I'd heard that single and kind of just kept my ear to the ground for more music coming from them. So Violent Soho, they're an alternative rock band from Brisbane in Australia, and this album is called Everything Is A-OK, and it's their 5th studio album. So, like I said, I only heard of this band because of that single, Vacation Forever. I hadn't heard anything from them, I didn't know they even existed before that. So, what do you think about this album, Grant?
I enjoyed it. What I will say is, the album sounded really familiar. I hadn't heard of them before. I haven't kind of looked back into their kind of back catalogue or anything like that. But I found this album kind of instantly accessible, and as I said, it's really easy to listen to, really enjoyable, but really familiar. I think you can kind of tell where their influences have come from.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would agree with that or not. There was times where I remember thinking you could be forgiven for thinking this is like a NoFX song. There was times where I kind of felt as if the lead vocalist was kind of challenging his inner Fat Mike, his inner Mike Burkett from NoFX. And again, I thought that was purely down to an American accent. I mean, I listened to it on Spotify. I remember looking at the album cover, and the album cover is, I think, just that kind of your average kind of suburban home with a flagpole outside, and there's the Australian flag in it, and I was like, right, so they must be from Australia. And obviously, when I was kind of doing my research, I found that, yeah, they are Australian. However, I did think the guy sounded quite American. There was times as well where I felt as if I could be listening to like a kind of Smashing Pumpkins song, like a kind of, maybe not so much Smashing Pumpkins, but more like, there was times where I thought he sounded like Billy Corgan. And I don't know if that's just because of the kind of lyrics that were used, like the combination of the lyrics or the assortment of the lyrics, or whether it was to do with the way he kind of put certain inflections. Yeah, there was one song in particular, the 4th track, Canada. Yeah, I remember thinking, yeah, I could listen to a Smashing Pumpkins song. Be interested to see where's the kind of trademark Rumpelstiltskin.
See, I think the reason I kind of latched on to the single Vacation Forever was because
I thought he sounded exactly like Billy Corgan, and it sounded exactly like a Smashing Pumpkins song. So I was like, this is fucking great. It just sounds like classic alt rock of that Smashing Pumpkins, Pixies kind of era. And I mean, he sounds like Billy Corgan, but at times he also sounds like Frank Black.
How much does the opening track sound like the riff? So it kind of starts off with kind of discordant kind of guitar sounds and drum sounds and what have you, but then when it kind of breaks into the riff, I thought it sounded like My Hero from Foo Fighters.
I didn't get that, but not saying you're wrong.
Honestly, go back and listen to it. I'm not like accusing them of plagiarism or anything like that, but it's almost identical. It must just be a kind of a well-used chord progression or a natural chord progression that they're using or something, but it's very similar.
Regardless.
It's a really cool riff.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But yeah,
I really like the opening track, Sleep Here. Like you say, it's got that main riff, which is a proper headbanger, and like a lot of these songs, it's that classic loud, quiet, loud dynamic again, where you've got a quiet, more restrained verse, and it bursts into a massive chorus, and yeah, it's a good way to start the album. I can see what you're talking about with the sort of NoFX punk rock vibes, especially on the next track, Pick It Up Again. It's got a really sort of antagonistic, sneering vocal delivery on it, and I was struggling to think what it reminded me of, but I was thinking I was getting a sort of early Green Day vibe from it. Definitely early Green Day and not current Green Day. Yeah, it's a good song, and I think I do like this album quite a lot, and I think it's just because it's familiar, and I'm a big alt-rock fan, and there's a lot of sort of nostalgic appeal to it with kind of modern production values.
Yeah.
Much like, Dinosaur Pile Up, a lot of their latest tracks did it well, and there's a band called Culture Abuse who do the modern alt-rock thing quite well with their recent-ish album Bay Dreams, and also Drug Church as well, who deal with sort of big riffs and slacker vocals. There's a lot to love about this album with quite a few standout tracks. I mean, I keep mentioning Vacation Forever because I think it's one of the best songs on there. There's another song called Lying on the Floor, which has just got, the riff on that is just awesome, and it ends on this really cool bending sort of squealing note. And it's got like this catchy chorus that just goes, lying on the floor is all I want to do. And, that's as slacker as you can get.
Aye.
So there's, I think, a handful of really great songs, and the rest of them are just good.
Yeah, I would agree. The kind of songs that I've kind of picked out as being standout songs, as you said, Pick It Up Again. It was this song in particular that I kind of felt was reminiscent of some of the stuff that Fat Mike and NoFX have done. In particular, I think it was just his vocals, just the way he was singing. It just reminded me of Dying Degree, which is a song off the Punk in Drublic NoFX album, for anybody who's familiar with that. The fourth track, Canada, is brilliant as well. The kind of opening and closing guitar riff I've kind of described as being really kind of infectious. It was this song that kind of made me think that I was listening to a bit more of an upbeat kind of Smashing Pumpkins or Swan song. Same with the following track, Slow Down Sonic. Really quite enjoyed that as well. Again, just with that particular kind of vocal refrain of Did I Fall Enough With You? Just, it seems like as we said, just seems like something straight out of a Smashing Pumpkins song. I just kind of have described it as being a kind of really lovely, kind of dreamy number. But yeah, a really good album.
Yeah, well, how would you rate it?
I've rated it an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I go an 8, I think.
Go an 8. A safe 8.
It's a really good album.
You're not necessarily going to hear anything new, but if you're into this kind of music, it doesn't really matter. There's a familiar sound, but like I said, there's a handful of great songs and then a bunch of good songs. But there aren't any bad songs, not even close. So yeah, it's a really good album.
Absolutely.
So that was Everything Is A-OK by Violent Soho.
It's not finished. It's finished.